And I should be live. Excellent. No editing today. I'm here to show you how to use the online tool repl.it. Really, for CS110, this should be your last resort. Everything has failed to work and you just need something to do this class. Whether you ran out of hard drive space, your Mac is too old, your PC is too slow, whatever it is, repl.it might be a thing for you to try. So I'm just going to guide you through getting into this site, starting a program, and then finding the files so that you can turn them into your teacher. I'll also show you how to include input and output files for when you start needing that in the lab. So I've already created a repl.it account. I could just log in. I will click this sign up button over here and we'll see what that involves. Mostly, you can just sign up with a Facebook account or a Google account. This middle one here is a programmer kind of a thing called GitHub. That's another place to store code. There's other ways to sign up as well, and they're working on an education system. They've got a beta program where a university can pay $75 for 500 users. That would be the smallest we'd ever want for this. That would handle CS110 only. Or you can get unlimited, they say, for $100, but I don't trust them because they keep changing those numbers and they keep on messing around with the prices. So I've already signed up with my Facebook account. I'll just log in with that right now. So you can click the login button and use whatever you used to register for it in the past to get in again. And I've got a whole bunch of work I've done in here before. repl.it is a cloud storage service as well as a programming environment and program running service. You don't run the programs on your computer, you just edit them with your web browser. So I've got a bunch of repls here. Some of them I've named so that I know what they are next time I want to use them. This one here has a repl generated name, which is not easy to understand at all. And some of them I created as throwaways, and they are stored in a weird folder. So I'm going to show you what it's like to create a new repl. Just going to click this button right here. And I favorited C++ and Python because I'm interested in them, but you can choose from a large list of languages. If you don't see C++ right at the top, it should be in one of the top places for all languages. So I'm going to select C++, and I want to make sure that this repl is named something that I will understand later. So if you're doing lab 1, maybe call it L1. If you're doing lab 2, maybe that's lab 2 exercise 3. Maybe this is an assignment. Assignment 2, question 17, because it's a really big assignment. Heaven forbid. All right, so this is just a lab demo. And I'll know what that is so I can delete it later. And if you have a free account, notice that you are forced to have all of your repls in public. That means that somebody who is very determined could find your repl somewhere maybe and get your code from you. If you would like to use repl.it for this class, I suggest you upgrade your account so you can have private repls for your homework. There's nothing worse than getting accused of plagiarizing or cheating when you did nothing wrong. So the hacker plan right now is $50 for 12 months. That's pretty cheap considering the cost of a textbook. And you can get different billing plans. So you can go monthly and cancel it after a few months. So that's not too bad at $5 a month. I don't know if you have to register for the full year and if you're just billed monthly for a year. But you know what? If you're going to program for a while, this is a nice tool. So I haven't paid for it yet. I just create code that everybody should be seeing anyhow as a teacher, so I haven't needed yet. I'm going to create this repl, the C++ repl called lab demo. Create. Once you've chosen a language and given a repl name, you'll be taken to a programming environment. On the far left is your file manager. If you need to make a copy of a repl and start working from there, you can go to this little box at the top and fork it. So this will keep the old one and let you make a new one with a new name. Okay, and you can rename that once you're in there. Provide a description so you know what you were doing. So you can basically clone things. That's the repl part of repl. You can replicate things. So I got a main.cpp, and there's a sample program in there already. And on the far right is where I can see the results of the program. So I'm just going to run that right now. And you can see that this is very similar to what you'll do in Lab 1. It's just a hello world, and my output, hello world, is right there on the right. I'm going to run the Lab 1 sample program. So I'll go to the Introduction to C++ and look at the Visual C++ instructions. And down the page a little ways, you can see that sample program that you'll see in Lab this week. I'll just copy that for now and paste it in. And there it is. I can click Run. This line right here printed the please enter your name, which I can see right there. This line right here will try to read what I type into this string, this text storage area called name. My name's Alex. I'll try to see what happens if I type in Clark. This kind of reading can only do one word at a time. We'll learn how to do full lines or sentences later. I'll press Enter. That will finish the instruction on line 14. And it took what I put in name and printed it out in this little feedback line here. Hello, whatever name was typed, and go to the next line. So that's the Lab 1 program running. It's really easy. We're using a very modern version of C++. There's a new version coming out this year, but it's not quite released. So C++ 17 is where it's at. If I want to download this to turn it into the teacher, well, you take a screenshot and then you go over to the dots right here above your file list, right next to the word files. Go to those dots and you can download a zip. I'm going to show you what that looks like. So down in the bottom of my web browser is my zip file, and right over here I can see that there's a main.cpp inside. You should extract that and you can turn that into your courses as your program. So that's really easy. When you're done with REPL, you can leave, everything's automatically saved, and then you can come back and resume your work. Now I'm going to keep this lab demo around, and I'm going to replicate it and then make a file input-output program for you to see. So I'm going to go to this menu, and I'm going to fork this first program. And it added a -1. This is a copy of the original, not the original itself. And I'm going to call this lab demo files, so I know I was working with files in this one. And, oh dear, I am going to have to add an input file. I'm going to read from that and print it to the screen. This plus and a page button will add a file. And you can add more CPP files to make big programs, or you can just add text files. So I'm going to make a file called input.txt. That's just added to my file list, and I'll put some words in there. How exciting. I want to read those words out and put them on the screen. So I'm going to change this program a little bit. I need strings to read the words. I need IOStream to print on the screen, and I need to include fstream so that I can read from files. Now I need something called a file handle for reading from input. So input file handle stream ifstream. I'm going to call this in, and I'm going to open the file input.txt that you saw me create over here. Semicolon on there. And now instead of asking someone to type and reading from there, I'm going to look in the file. So I will do a get line, so I read all the words I typed on that first line. Get line. And if you look at my code blocks program, I forgot how to do the next step, but today I remember. I'm going to read from the file handle called in, and I'm going to put the results into name. And to be honest, name should probably be called words instead, because it's more than one word. It's not a name. There's words. Notice I'm changing it everywhere that it appears. So I've created words, I'm getting a line and putting it into words, and I'm printing those words. I probably also don't need the hello anymore. I just want to see what the words were. So this is the connection to this file over here. This gets from the handle to that file everything that's on the first line and puts it into words, and now I'm printing words, and I can run this. Ooh, there's word in there. How excite! Yay! Woo woo woo! Alright, so I can also put stuff into an output file. Instead of printing it on the screen, I'm going to create an output file stream called out. And I will put things into a file called output.txt semicolon. So now, instead of using cout, which is console out, this is the console, I'll just print out. Now, notice that something's turned blue here on me. I probably shouldn't use those words, but it's working, so I'm just going to keep going. Some words are reserved in C++. They usually turn blue if they're reserved, so danger time. All right, I'm going to run this and see what happens. Okay, nothing got printed on the terminal this time, but if you look over to the left, magically, output.txt has appeared in my project. And there are words in there. How exciting! Woo woo woo! This is how you use repl.it. The basic management skills I've shown you today are enough to get you through the semester. Past this point, it's just like using Visual Studio, Xcode, or anything else. You won't have as much ease at debugging problems. So if I make a spelling mistake and I run this, I get weird messages. It says there's a compiler error or something here, and I have to look at this. This is the line number 13. It says is where the error is. It says it expected a semicolon, and that's at character 29. If I was in Visual Studio or Xcode, I could double click on this and it would take me over here for what to look at. Instead, I have to read this message and understand line 13 at the end, there's a semicolon missing. So this is where repl.it stops being as friendly and as helpful as other systems. Its autocomplete features are also not as good as what you find in Xcode or Visual Studio. So it is a little bit limited and limiting when you start really getting to work. All right, I'm going to download the zip file for this and see what I get from the package and what I could turn in. Go to the ... download a zip. And this is my lab demo files. And I see an input.txt and a main.cpp. Doesn't look like I got the output.txt. So I'm not sure what to do about that. I'm going to rename it. Output to, and then rename it back to output and see if that makes it stay. Download a zip. So I'll get another zip and see what's inside. Oh, there's my output.txt. Looks like I had to do a little something to make repl.it believe it was real instead of a byproduct of running the program. So hopefully this helps you out. I'm going to stop the live stream. I've got a meeting to go to. I'll be posting this, and hopefully those of you that have no other choices at least have something to work with in your CS110 until you get something else sorted out. Bye-bye.